Rated M for mature.
Hey guys, it's Monkey, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a game review of Gears of War 4. Gears of War 4 is set for release on the 11th of October. It is available for Windows 10 and Xbox One. I believe that with any digital purchase you can get it on both, as well as you would have gotten early access with Ultimate Edition or above. I purchased the Ultimate Edition myself to get early access so I could start playing from the 7th. I stayed up for about 32 hours to play from about 12 AM to 5 PM at night. I did some gameplay recording as well, which will be soon uploaded to the channel. But I'd like to have a bit of a chat about the game itself and how I felt about it, comparing it, I guess, to the previous games as well. So, for those of you who know me, I am a big Gears of War fan. I have many things that are Gears of War themed and related, from the guns to a few, I guess, collectibles and stuff, as well as a cat named Meowcus Phoenix. So I'm pretty into Gears of War. I've been playing it for a while, probably not as long as it's been out. So far there are 5 Gears of War games. Gears of War 1 was released in 2006 and saw us starting off the journey with Marcus Phoenix and his pals in trying to destroy the Locust Swarm, the Locust being the main enemy across the first trilogy of the games. Gears of War 2 was released in 2008. Gears of War 3 was released in 2011. Gears of War 2 and 3 saw us continuing our journey with Marcus Phoenix and his squad to eliminate the Locusts and finally coming to an end at the end of Gears of War 3. And then we had Gears of War Judgment, which was a prequel released in 2013. Judgment saw us more kind of look at Damon Baird and his squad. They were in a different squad to Phoenix. So it just shows us a bit more of that character. What I liked, I guess, most about Gears of War 1, 2 and 3, it's quite funny because they're beefcakes. Big, burly men who swear a lot, and the way that they react, you see, I guess, a lot of soldiers and that sort of thing die in these games, and these guys are just there to just get it done and go home. It's a third-person shooter. I'm not too good at first-person shooters, so I do like the idea of third-person a bit more. There's a lot of cover-based fighting. The guns are really cool, like you get a chainsaw lancer. How cool is that? Sorry, for those who don't know what a lancer is, it's kind of like an assault rifle, but it's got a chainsaw on it, so that's pretty cool. And you can cut people with the chainsaw or just shoot people, so that's always fun as well. I played Gears of War Judgment when it came out, like I did get it. I played it again recently as well with a friend of mine in April this year. It's not my favourite out of the games. It's a little bit different. They changed up the mechanics a little bit more. It does introduce customization to your weapons though, so you can give them some pretty looking skins and your characters as well. It's cool in that way. I do like Damon Baird. He's my second favourite character, but it was distinctly lacking the strong arm that is Marcus Phoenix. When I first got these games for Xbox, I was suggested them by a manager who I worked with when I worked at EV Games because I was looking at getting an Xbox, and he suggested I get Gears of War. I'm really happy did, because I love these games. They've been my favourite Xbox series since. So the reason why I mention, I guess, the first 4 games that came out was a lot of the same mechanics are brought forward into Gears of War 4. It does feel very familiar. You get the same kind of gameplay, same kind of combat. There's a few different things though. We have a few different weather elements.
Oh shit, wind flare!
Things like that. That create a bit of a challenge in terms of how you fight and maintain yourself and your team in combat, because it's a lot more dangerous. You can't throw grenades because they will come right back in your face. So that's always a fun thing. In terms of it being familiar, yeah, it's the same fight style, cover fire and things like that. Gears of War 4 was made by a different company this time around. 1, 2, 3 and Judgment we saw made by Epic Games, but this time around we've changed over to another company called Coalition. They have seemingly done very well. They've kept the same kind of core principles and story as well as mechanics in the game, but they've also added a few different things as well. It's a little bit different, but it's still very familiar. So the story that we look at in Gears of War 4, we follow the young JD Phoenix, the son of Marcus Phoenix. The story is set 25 years after the events of Gears of War 3. The war is over. We see that they're living differently. JD Phoenix and his friends, Kate and Dell, they're outsiders, so they've joined up with a group of outsiders and they attack COG settlements to steal what's called fabricators. I believe JD was in the COG, so the Coalition of Ordered Governments, for a while, and then he decided to leave. So in Gears of War 4 we start off with some of the previous characters that we've known. You play as Dom and you're fighting some of the people that we would have seen the Gears fight before the Locust Hordes. We worked through a few of the scenarios of what's happened, so they do a really good recap of the wars, the wars between people, and then obviously as we followed into fighting the Locust Horde as well. There's another character from Judgment named Paddock, and he was one of the original members of the army that was on the other side of things, so you fight some of his people and things like that. It moves through different timelines as we hear narrated by the new director of the COG, who is at a centenary event or like a celebration event of the 25 years or however long it was since the war ended. Eventually we get to the point where we start to play as JD Phoenix and with his friends as well. But the game itself has an R18 rating, which is really good to see for a video game, because in Australia we often don't get the R18 rating on most things because it seems to be too gory or too far out for all of us. These games have always been at the top of their level for like gore and just absolutely crazy violence that's just unnecessary. Once again, I bring it back to the fact that you cut people in half with chainsaws and you just have blood splatting everywhere all over the camera. And they've been able to continue that on and just make it even better. It's even more gory now. It's just been absolutely fantastic. Bringing it back to Australia as well is that JD Phoenix is actually played by an Australian actor named Liam McIntyre. So we get an Australian in this amazing series. I watched some reviews or watched an interview between him and somebody else about his voice acting experience and how he got to work with John DiMaggio as well.
He got to work with John DiMaggio?
Yeah, they
really?
actually got to work together. Reading this interview, it's really cool to see that Liam McIntyre actually got to work in real time together with John DiMaggio in the studio. I've met John DiMaggio myself, and he's actually a fantastic human being. I went to see him at Supernova one year, had a few things signed, and he actually saw that I was wearing my COG tags on that day. He asked me to give them to him to have them signed without having to pay for it. So he was so lovely. I'm going to stop ranting about him though and talk a little bit more about the game. We talked a bit about the beginning. A few other things you get to see in terms of enemies is like there are different enemies. There's enemies called DBs. They're like a mechanical kind of enemy, but you also have a very similar enemy to the Locust as well. Once again, going back to the topic of familiarity, is that it is familiar but it is a little bit different as well. I spent about 12 hours playing this game. From the first point that it came out at 12 o'clock in the morning till about 5 p.m. I was playing, recording. I had a few hiccups, but I did spend about 12 hours actually playing it solidly. I was up for 32 hours and was absolutely exhausted by the end of it, but it was totally worth it. Overall, it was a fantastic game to play. Again, it's quite familiar, and in no way is it bad for that. The games are, continuously familiar. They present the same quality every single time. So to have that again has been absolutely fantastic. It can get a little bit repetitive sometimes for people who are familiar with it, but being that we haven't had a Gears game in about 3 years, we all kind of just suck it up and deal with it because we love this franchise. Well, I know that I do, and I'm not going to spoil the game for anyone, but there may be mechs. Okay, so just a little bit of a wrap up. The game's been excellent. It kind of feels like it's handing off to the next generation. So we do see JD and we play as JD. They made a very big point of making him very different to Marcus. He doesn't want to be his dad. He wants to be different. They argue a lot. Typical father and son. We got to see Marcus Phoenix again in this game, and he's old and gruff and quite irritable, but hey, that's Marcus Phoenix anyway. One thing that I missed out on was that we don't know what happened to Anya. Anya is JD's mum. Her and Marcus were a thing, got married and had JD, and we still don't know what happened to her, and Marcus doesn't talk about it. Overall, fantastic game. I don't give ratings, but I think that it was really, really good. The only thing that would really bother me is that it was familiar and repetitive, but at the same time, that is also a strong point. Best things is that there are different things. It is a different story. Similar but different is just the same thing I'm going to keep going back to because that's what it is. So another thing that this game brings that the other ones have as well is a brilliant co-op mode where you get to play with your friends. You fight, build defenses and things like that. This game brings more of a defense aspect from what I understand from the co-op horde mode. You have different classes. You have a sniper, soldier, engineer. I think there was another one, but it actually eludes me at this point in time. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Monkey Games. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you would like to, you can head over to my Twitch channel and definitely watch that when I'm online. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks guys. Bye bye.